Hi, welcome to the RAMS Agents Production Coaching Call. The goal of the call is to help you sell more homes by maximizing your repeating referral closings by implementing the referral agent mastery system into your practice. My name is Mike Cerrone, co-founder of RAMS Agents, and my co-host is Angela Newman, a master trainer of RAMS Agents. Hello, Angela. How are you today?
Good morning, everybody. I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Fantastic. See some thumbs up. Cool. All right, good. So let's jump right in. First question of the day. Good news. Who's got some good news they'd like to share?
After a maybe 3 week lull, I have a showing scheduled for the farm listing that I have. So that just came in late yesterday from an agent in town that I know represents clients who are capable of buying this land. So, so that's a good thing. And that showing is going to be on Wednesday. So I'm excited about that. That's some good news.
That's fantastic, Blake. Congratulations. That's great. So how long have you had this listing, this land listing?
I don't have the number right in front of me, but it's right about 65, maybe 66 days, somewhere right in there.
So
It's not
land,
that long, really, for land at
yeah,
all in
land can
our
take
area.
longer to sell. I assume you saw that when you were pulling up the comps and um, the days on the market, days in the market, whatever they're calling it now. How
Yeah.
long have you, what was did you see that? What was the range of days on the market for land?
Yeah, it's hard to say for this size of property. It takes, I mean, the last one that sold within 2 days of being listed. That was over $1 million, but nothing else. It's generally it was much longer than that. I think the last one, maybe people were waiting on it or something. It was a uh, an estate. That's what it was. So I have to think that by the time it actually got listed, there was some lead time where people knew it was going to happen. Um, but anyway, I know there's only enough activity to support about 3 or 4 sales a month in the county where I'm selling this, and that's not a lot of sales. So there's just not a lot of movement there. There's a 12 and a half month supply. So I've informed my client of that. But yeah, it was generally for a long or larger piece of land like this, it was at least 6 months to a year that it would take.
Very good. And so you did, sounds like you did some good research. You know that the supply, number of months of supply, you know how many are selling approximately each month. Does this have residents on it as well, or is it just raw land?
Just land. It has a pole barn. That's what it's called. It has a barn, but it is just land. It's just a farm.
Have you done,
Active farm. Yeah.
and just, so I'm just going to start spitballing a couple ideas. Have you done just listed around to all the neighbors to let them know that this property is available?
I haven't done a mailing if that's what you're suggesting. I have not done a mailing. I have talked to all neighbors that are adjacent. I've spoken to them on phone.
Good.
So everybody that has property that actually touches this property, and then some around that do not. But yeah, the everybody that's actually adjacent knows that it's for sale, and I've talked to them, and they
Yeah,
know
I'd
the
make
price.
sure that
So
all the people know that. You might even have a monthly mail out because it's such a small group to all the
yeah,
people around there. Because that's my understanding in farming communities is they like to buy the land next door or across the street or maybe down the street so they can do their contiguous kind of work. So I'd keep all of them updated. You might have somebody out of state that owns a property there that might be interested. Try to do those kind of researches. The other group of people that I'd be interested in reaching out to would be brokers who are buying and helping people buy and sell in that area. And it sounds like you started down that path with the research of what's been selling. You might look at not just the property, but the agent who was doing the selling and create a list of those folks and get a mailer out to them so they have something in their hand, get an email out to them, do a phone call out to them, say, hey, I just wanted you to know this property is over here. If you got anybody interested? That could be fruitful, especially I'm trying to think what else you could do. You know, a lot of commercial agents, they're not part of your traditional MLS. So that's why you got to do this reach out to those folks. CoStar, I'm trying to think of, Angela might be able to help us out here. Any other listing services that do land?
Yeah, I can tell you in my research, I have, and I was aware of this website, but I've learned a lot more about it because I'm doing this listing. Land.com, they have a network of websites, farmsandland.com, I think is one of them, or something like that. But anyway, they have a network of websites. That is a separate listing platform that I am paying to list on that. But it's very focused on land buyers, clearly. A lot of folks that look for hunting land or maybe even poultry farms or cattle farms, anything, any farming and land that helps at least to make sure, because that's a more of a national look. Somebody might not necessarily look specifically in Georgia, but then be able to search and find the land. There were a lot of, you know how on the MLS you've got all of the check boxes of all the details of your property. Well, these guys, they've got a good thing going because their check boxes fit property that's farming. And so their check boxes give you sorts on, you know, horse farm and those kind of things.
Perfect. Couple other quick ideas on this topic. And again, I haven't sold land. I'm not a land guy. I'm just kind of spitballing ideas. And
Yeah.
it's great to go talk to a land expert. But a couple other ideas would be, do you know the zoning of the land? Number one. Number two, can it be developed? You know, like they put just start grading it and put houses on it, you know, put infrastructure in. If so, if that's true, and you find out those kind of details, then start reaching out to developers. Start with the developers, people who have developed in that area already, developers and builders. And those tend to be two different categories. They could be the same, but developer is the one that goes in, grades it out, puts in the beginning infrastructure, and then the builders can come in and start building the individual homes. That may be the next group to look at, because that really increases the value of the property when you can do higher and better use.
Yeah, that's actually the first group that comes to me when you get it on the MLS. Those guys are actively looking. And at least what my experience has been, and those were a number of our showings, came right up from people that were representing developers or were developers. Um, and that is certainly a possibility. This particular land, because I knew the zoning and the restrictions of that zoning prior to the listing, of course, but but it doesn't present real well for heavy subdivision, and by that I mean a lot of lots. It because of the infrastructure that's in place. And I have learned it's just developers, they need to be getting bargain prices on the land, at least on this kind of land, to be able to make their money as well. It's very interesting what I've learned through meeting with developers and talking with developers about it. It's just not a while they have a lot of opportunity there, it also requires them to purchase the land at a price that's not where we are right now.
Mm-hmm. Good, but keep them in your back pocket in case things
Absolutely.
change. If your seller has flexibility in the financing, that financing flexibility can create a higher price.
Yeah.
Um, uh, the other thing, I'm spitballing. Anybody else can throw in spitball ideas here as well. One of the other ideas may be how big an acreage is it?
70.
70.
Yes.
Okay. Are there in that area, has anybody come in and built like a large family estate or a big home, mansion, a big
Yes.
giant house on a big piece of land like that? That may be another idea to reach out to people that are looking for that. And in order to go down that path, you may decide to have the seller hire someone to put forward a plan, an architect or someone to put forward a plan for building a big giant 5, 10, 15,000 square foot house on the land. And then you can show people, hey, this is what it could be if you wanted to get this big piece of land and put this giant home, and this is where we recommend you put it, because check out this amazing view, and kind of create a vision for what that might be for somebody.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of that certainly is a category of people that I think is most likely in our area to purchase this land. That's the way it is. That's probably the most likely buyer right now is going to be someone that either has a single family estate or what I see a lot of now, and I've been seeing this for a while, even before listing this, is folks wanting to do multi-generational estates where they have a farm or a property. It doesn't have to be a farm, but a larger piece of land, and you've got parents and maybe multiple kids building homes on this property. And that it has been some very good conversations with some folks that I've given personal tours of the property to several candidates like that. So that's a great target. I think probably a good question would be, how do I locate those folks, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have not found a very easy, hey, here's the here's the list of people like that.
Right.
Um,
First of all, yeah, the word that was coming to my mind is a compound, right? Family compound,
yep,
bigger place. So these are kind of things you want to start thinking about, the terminology that somebody would use.
yeah.
So a couple quick ideas. And again, Angela, Tristan, jump in if you have any ideas here you'd like to share. So one idea is to create, again, a marketing piece. You got to create a vision if you're going to go this direction. So marketing piece showing that this is a buildable site and where you think it should build. And you're going to have to create a vision for people. So that's why I'm saying bring in an architect or somebody, because you're going to have to, you want to have renderings or drawings of what it could be. Say, hey, there's a property that could be put on this land. Check it out. It's got 28 bedrooms and 47 bathrooms, whatever it is, you're creating this vision of something, and maybe have even 3 of them. Here's the big one, the small one, the medium one, whatever. And this is where we would place it. This is what it would look like. And with that, then you would take those kind of pictures. I could see you putting it out on a marketing piece, let's say a postcard. I love postcards, giant postcard. And you send that out to people in your area who already own big property. They already are wealthy luxury buyers. They already own these homes, because they're going to network with other people like that, right? Like you're getting a country club list. You're getting people who already own. I don't remember the average price. What's the average price in your area? 300?
335.
All right, so let's say you get a price of people that already own homes that are 500,000 plus, right? These are people already living above average, and you'll have to just look at your market. Maybe it's going to have to be 600 or 700 above, twice the average price. These are people already living in a big house, but boy, they'd love to be on a big spread. They'd love to have a big piece of land, build a compound. Maybe their family's growing, or or somebody who's already made it big and they want to create a compound for their family to come live with them or live next to them. Anyway, those are the kind of people that you're going to want to target. It's not going to be a huge group, so you create a wonderful piece. You could even do a personal magazine to go this direction. I've done those in the past where there are companies you can create an actual full color magazine, a very small one, and you can mail that out to these folks, showing this idea. And again, you want to get the seller on board with this idea of what you're trying to create, this vision of getting it out there into the public. And you may have to increase the marketing budget and have them participate in this. Say, here's an idea. What do you think about it? If we go this direction, I need you to front some of the money. Just tell them, whatever. And this is what I want to do. And this is why I want to do it. One final idea there, and then I want to open up. I can't wait to see if Angela's got some ideas to throw out here at you. But one other idea that was hitting me, because we're just spitballing, is what about talking to the seller about the seller becoming the developer? All right, so the seller takes those 70 acres and subdivides them into, just say, 7 10-acre lots. And then you sell the 10-acre lots. You would sell them at a much higher price. The aggregate might be 1.5 or $2 million because they're smaller pieces that are more accessible to people. And people would either buy those raw land with the future to build on it, or you might have to start putting in infrastructure for them. Start going down that path. And I know your background, Blake, you're an investor, you're a really sharp guy. You might want to learn about all that, just because you not only would do it here, that would become a cookie cutter you could do on other property around the area. Hey, check out this property I did. If you start going down that path, document the snot out of it, because you're going to want to then take that and share it with the next landowner and say, hey, check out what I did over there. We were going to sell this property for $1 million. We ended up selling it for $3.5 million by doing X, Y, and Z. My people loved it. It did take a little extra work. Do you want to do it? All right, so that's another approach you might decide to go down. Angela, throw in some ideas here. What did I miss?
Yeah, so that was all really good stuff, good recommendations and good directions. And so on the subdividing recommendation or idea, we in the past for large pieces of land, if it's just a possibility, you could just kind of do a little investigation research. If the seller would be willing to subdivide, you could add that to your listing. Seller may be willing to subdivide with an acceptable offer. And then, or you could go all the way as to actually figure out what that would look like, kind of like what Mike was saying. And we've already taken a look at this, and this is how we would potentially subdivide it if this is what this would look like, what we recommend based off of we know the land, how it lays out and all that kind of stuff, so that there were 7 building sites or whatever. And then you could draw up a proposal and show that. Now the challenge is once you start subdividing it, then it breaks the land up and you got to make sure people aren't landlocked and all that kind of stuff. But so that would be one idea. You could even just start with it's a possibility, because somebody might want 30 acres or 40 acres and something like that. And then going to the generational compound type living. Yeah, that's also a really great potential group to market to, that they could be successful business owners. They can be professionals that are successful, like Mike said, that might own. Personally, I have family members that now own farms and big compounds that over time, but they started off with just owning a really nice house, and then so you could start there. The people that I'm trying to think, Mike, that some of those resources where we can see income, if the home's paid off, how long they've lived there, all of that stuff might help narrow it down to people that have paid off $1 million house or something like that. And they might have that vision of being able to build some kind of compound for their family. And so that's that. And then I was also going to share two websites that I've used for commercial and for land in general, just unique stuff that it's free to use, but Crexy.com, you can list land, you can list it as agricultural, if it was commercial, any of that. LoopNet, which is related to CoStar, you can list for free on that too. However, LoopNet, I would usually list and pay for their, believe you pay for a quarter of marketing, like for a quarter's time. It might be like $200 a month, and you could choose a quarter, 6 months. It's been a while, but that got the most eyes on the listings was to pay for those listings to be upgraded on LoopNet. Again, it's been a couple of years since I've posted anything like that on LoopNet, but
What was the other name of the website? What were the two names, Angela? LoopNet, and what was the other one?
Crexy, CREXI.com. Both are national. So that's a nice thing because you'll also have, your local commercial type of website that may or may not be linked to your MLS. Sometimes they're not. They're probably going to make you join or pay to post on that. But both Crexy and LoopNet have free accounts. Now you're not going to get as much exposure, but it will be on there. So
Yeah, thank you. I have used Crexy in the past. I did not know about LoopNet. That's great. Thank you.
yeah.
Good job, Angela. What do you think, Blake? Was that helpful in any way?
Oh yeah, of course. Absolutely. I think particularly these ideas of sending to folks who are already living in nice homes that if I can figure out, a great sort or way to research incomes or at least, I mean, you obviously can sort the values of the homes and generally you can figure out to some degree what may be owed on the home. And if they've got a lot of equity in the home, then that might also indicate they're ready to try something else, but that may not even be as big of a deal. Just whether it's a nice home or not is the question.
Yeah, so as far as how to target the group of people that this would be attractive to, um, yeah, the one idea was to go to people already own nice homes. They either may want to buy this or they may know somebody who does, right? They may say, oh, I don't want this, but you know what? John was just asking about it. Sally was just talking about this, or
Right.
my kid might want to, or my parent might want to, or whatever. They might have a connection and you're getting it in front of them. The other idea that I thought was really good was Angela's, which is business owners, entrepreneurs. They tend to think bigger or differently than everybody else and have free flowing cash. And so, a way that you might get in front of those folks, other than looking at a list broker to try and put it together, is when I was looking at Every Door Direct Mail, EDDM, I noticed that they had a selection in my area, at least, where you could go out to residential homes or you could go out to businesses, right? Might be a cheap way to get in front of all the businesses in your area in your carrier route. Um, and then maybe the carrier routes around it since it's more rural or whatever the biggest town is nearby, et cetera. But it'll go to the businesses in that area, and that's really cheap. So you could do like a big full color glossy piece. I could see, 8.5 by 11 or whatever. They're probably a lot of big sizes, and you can just get that in front of them really, really cheap, like 20 cents a pop. And you could do that multiple times, once a month, and just getting it in front of them. And you could somehow, you can't address it like the address. There's no address on those, but what you'll do is a call out. So business owner, is this something you're interested in? Business owner, the owner of the business. Um, that's the call out you would want on that piece so that they give it to the right person. You know, say a receptionist gets and they're like, oh, well, this needs to go to the business owner. I'll throw it in front of them. And then who knows, you know, the receptionist gets and goes, oh yeah, Sally was just talking about this idea. Maybe I'll put this in front of her. I don't know. It's just an idea.
Yeah, it's
Um,
interesting. The idea of entrepreneurs having maybe some more vision too. One of the candidates, prospective buyers that I have given a personal tour of the property to is a business owner, entrepreneur that's running a business in the area, and he's looking for some more land actually for his family. His family's looking for a horse property. So that's interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. Thinking and the fact that I may have been able to reach this particular person through the fact that he owns a business. That's,
yeah.
there may have been other ways to do it, but that that would have done it just as effectively, perhaps.
Chamber of Commerce would be another source, like their list of members, somehow get in front of them. You could also go down to the state records, the Secretary of State, to find out who owns businesses in your area. You may be able to get a mailing address through that. Whoever's incorporated a business, an active business in your area. That may be another way. And then you just brought up another interesting idea, which is horses can be on the property. So owners of horses, equestrian property, there may be equestrian clubs in the area that you could reach out to and say, hey, I've got this property. Is there a way I can reach out in your newsletter or your mailing list somehow to let people know that we've got this property available? So you can get really creative. Um, that's the fun part about this. That's why I wanted to kind of spitball on it. And there are a lot of alternatives. And again, since you are in a rural area and you may end up listing other land, it may be worth it for you to really dive in deep and really ferret out all these ideas so that it's not just this property, but all the next ones. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's my plan. So that's absolutely right. I do want to learn all these other things.
Perfect. And so
Um,
then I assume you've looked into water and whether you have water rights on the property, because I assume people in land want water rights of some type, what exactly they do and don't have. You've already mentioned there's some land that can and can't be developed. Like I was imagining in my mind, if you ended up subdividing it, each person would get a little piece of that. Each person would get the prime land and each person would get a little piece of the bad land, and you have to figure out how to split it up. Anyway, Angela, go ahead. I'm just kind of rambling.
Oh, I was gonna ask, are you doing any kind of social media ads or Google ads?
Yes,
Um,
yes, I am. I'm not doing a straight Google. Well, I guess I am doing it. I'm using ads.google.com, whatever their their Google ad thing is. But that is to literally to boost my YouTube video. I'm using video uh, because the property is uh, just telling someone there's 70 acres of land, rural farmland, does not even come close to um, properly describing this property. Even myself, and I knew the area when I was first on the phone with the seller, discussing it with him before I actually got to go tour the property. I had my own vision of what I thought it might look like. I knew there might be some hills and stuff, but I thought what anybody would think is that you could subdivide it into seven equal, 10-acre lots. They all have road frontage, and that'd be just beautiful. It wouldn't particularly work on this property. And I've already met with a surveyor and have a quote for that and everything. So it can be subdivided, but the seller's not interested in doing that, and I totally understand why, at least not anytime soon. The
well,
buyer though may choose to.
you could possibly test some ads just from our conversation. I could picture an ad that said something like, have you dreamed about owning your own vineyard, uh, building a campground, having a family compound. Those aren't the words I would necessarily use, but that's just
Right.
what's coming into my head. Check this property out. You're gonna love it, or something like that. And just maybe that would be a little bit intriguing to, even if that's not something they've dreamed about before, but they might be like, huh, what's this, and then look into it more. And then, like Facebook, you could do your ad. You could choose, that they are interested in certain things like horses, equestrian, things like that. You could build a lookalike audience based off of a group of people that you already have their contact information for. Um, Even target those people. That's not something I specialize in. I know a little bit about, but yeah, maybe there's some other ways to get some inexpensive, more eyes on it. And
Yeah. Well, and one thing I was just thinking about when you were talking about all of the different things, I do have and I think you've seen it, the video that's run on Facebook, and it was an introductory video to the property, and certainly it focuses on the vineyard and those unusual things about it that rather than just saying, here's a bunch of land and do what you want. But it has definitely occurred to me to go back and develop specialized videos, ones that are targeted specifically at the vineyard. Because, like I said, what I've done so far is a general overview of the property. But especially as we get closer to September, I'll be focusing on the hunting opportunities because hunting season's coming. We know that. And this property has wonderful hunting possibilities. In fact, there's a deer stand on the property right now, but um,
yeah, and
that's
I think your
actually
video is amazing. So even taking that video, but the ad is maybe a little more broad with those ideas to get people to click on it to watch the video.
maybe
Um,
so, yeah. But yeah, that's what I was thinking is to go back and target the
mhm.
hunting
Yeah,
or
you could
the
definitely do
vineyard
that.
or whatever. And I see what you're saying. I mean, the video's good as a standalone, but it might be, I rework it so that it's more focused on particular aspects and then put it out to that group. Um,
Hmm.
there's a lot to be done with, I mean, because like I said, the property has so many varied aspects. It doesn't all have to be, there's hay being cut off of it now, but it's not just a bunch of hay fields. It's also got this hunting property in the back and then his vineyards and blueberries and all that stuff.
And you know where I'm gonna go next, then you could always have a party on it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. The party idea. That really is, that's perfect, Angela. That is your thing, isn't it? And that may be something, we even plan if if we're still into October on the property, that may be something I discuss with the homeowner or the property owner and plan and I say October because it'll look very different. It'll be a lot more accessible once we get into late October in particular, once there's been a frost. But maybe we have there is water on the property, so I could have a campfire. I want to make sure that I wouldn't have, but maybe we have,
S'mores
yeah,
and cocoa and cider or whatever. Come check out
yeah,
this amazing property, and then you could target those maybe higher end people to.
yeah, a good idea. Thank you.
That was awesome. You guys jumped right into what I was about to say, so I'm super proud of you guys. So the idea to niche down, if you're going to go into the social media and do the ads, the idea of niching down into just one idea. The only thing I want to emphasize is the idea of going into one idea. So the whole ad is about, hey, here's a property you could turn into a campground.
Yeah.
That's it. That nothing else. Just, hey, you thought about opening a campground, right? That's the start. That's the catch. And then you just share all the ideas about what it could be for a campground. That's it. That's the ad. And you just go and you clip out any of the little video parts that you have and turn it into a real short little video about that part, that aspect. Then you move to the next one. You create a whole new ad on the vineyard idea, right? And have you thought about having a vineyard? Boom, check out this property. And that's it. Then the next ad. Have you always wanted your own hunting spot? Okay, and then you go down that one. So Blake, you were starting to bring that up, the individual, all the little individual ideas. You may end up with 10 different ads, but if that's going to hit the best, have the best chance of success, someone sees that and says, oh yeah, my dad was just talking about getting his own piece of land to hunt. He's always wanted that. It's been his dream for 20 years. And I just saw this ad. Let me get it over to him, right? And the social media, they can share it and they can send it over, right? So I think that's going to be super powerful for you, is to do that little niche. My only point was to go into the one idea, real deep on the one idea. All you're talking about is the one concept.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. I like that. And I really do think that's the next step. I mean, as a marketer, I know that the riches are in the niches. And that's what you do is find the niche that's really going to focus on that person that's looking for, because there are probably, well, there may be people who are looking to have a vineyard and horse property, and but that's unlikely. The guy that was looking at it for horse property, he looked at it and he's like, I don't see myself being in the vineyard business. So the vineyard is of no value to him. He's going to mow it over, or let the horses eat it or whatever.
Yeah,
But
equestrian. I'm trying to think of all the things. Equestrian,
yeah,
hay. You said hay, right? Are there
yeah,
people that cut hay?
right.
All these different people, right? Angela, what
Farm.
else was there? The farm
What was
itself,
Ranch farm.
a ranch. Spread that out. A rancher, or a goat, goat
yeah,
ranch, right? Mini goat ranch, um, right? Uh, all those
Family
single
compound.
line ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really,
Fishing
really
hole. Did you
good.
say there was water? Fishing hole.
oh yeah,
You want your own. You want own your own lake. You can stock this lake and fish it out. Is it big enough for water skiing or anything? I don't know. Right? What else? What can they do? Can they canoe on it? Just each one idea. Just go down, because you don't know what someone's interest is going to be. Like right now, it's really popular to do what do they call that? They stand on the board and they go
oh yeah,
across the lake. What is it?
Paddleboarding.
Paddleboarding. Yeah. You ever want to have your own lake to do paddleboarding? I'm serious. You never know what their little interest is going to be. And they
yeah.
actually have a boatload of money to go do whatever. And you're like, great, come on over here. And you think they're going to buy because of the vineyard. Turns out they just want to paddle around in their paddleboard. Great. Whoever wants to buy it, great. Let's go. But you got it right in front of them. Hey, paddleboarders, check this out. Jet skiers. I don't know. I don't know how big this water is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's good. Yeah, we have actually just again for starters, because the vineyard is there, and that is very unique. That is a very unique aspect. We we are marketing it as the Vineyard Farm, and that was just as opposed to, I mean, it has a street address. The street address is irrelevant. It really is. It's not a well-known road or anything like that. So we just have labeled it the Vineyard Farm. And that's the way to start marketing with something special being highlighted. But
You
you're
brought up
exactly
an
right. We
interesting
do the
point,
same
though.
thing, but
Somebody may then say, "Oh, I don't want to do a vineyard," and they rule it out.
right, right.
I
Absolutely.
do love the niche idea. That's why I think Angela brought up such a great idea with the social media. You can you can highlight each of these individual niches and individual ads,
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
run a $5 campaign a week or whatever. The budget can work out. The hunting idea you said, is there different kind of hunting on that land? Like is there pheasant hunting and deer hunting and rabbit hunting? I don't know. Are there different kinds of hunters? You could go into that
Yeah,
different
there
ideas,
are
one ad for each of them.
generally there's I mean, yes, there are different hunters, but generally the property in this area is going to be good for most hunters, whatever they're hunting. Like the rabbits, deer, turkey are all going to be on the same property. The one thing that's a little different is this will have duck.
Again, see what we're saying there? So if there was somebody who just loves to hunt ducks, I don't know,
Right.
that's their thing. They love the little collar. That's what I think of. They got the duck call, and that's their dream. And you're like, this is a duck hunting property. That ad is going to be like, oh, that's going to be a magnet for them. Yes, you
Yeah.
narrowed it down, but with the social media, you can stratify, you can kick these teeny little things. And that's what I want you to keep going down, Blake, is what are these little itty bitty one thing niches that somebody goes, yeah, that's what I love. That's what I want. And that's how you start the ad. That's the highlight. That's the catch. That's the grabber, the headline, the call out. That's the other word you'd use, call out. And it just grabs them and they go. Make sure it's also visual in the ad. That name is right on the very first thing that pops up in writing, and maybe even a visual, like in this case, of a duck hunters. So you have duck hunters and the word and a picture of a duck. That's the first thing that someone sees. And again, the idea you should have is, one, you're getting it in front of that person. That would be awesome. But two, it might probably be you're getting in front of somebody that knows them. Okay, their family member, their best friend, their
Right.
cousin, whatever. And they go, oh my gosh, you know, Sam has been looking for a property that hunt duck. He just can't find the right one. And look at this, it's right here. I didn't even realize it was there. And they send it over to him. Well, we've had a lot of fun on this one, huh? We ate up the entire time talking about land sales. Hopefully it's been valuable not only for land sales, but the idea of how can you look for alternative buyers for properties? Because as our market slows down, we have got to start to get creative on how we are actively reaching out to find the buyer for our property. We're playing the old-fashioned broker role. And as you can niche into something, it creates something that's duplicatable. Like we're talking about Blake, not only learning all the aspects of this particular piece of land, but then being able to take this blueprint and use it on the next property and all these things and be able to share that in this list. I imagine you in your listing presentation, you're sharing this with the seller. This is what I did with this other property. First we just put it out there generically. It wasn't quite clicking. And so then we went into these niches and boom, check out what we did. I never realized there was somebody who loves to collect mice and there are mice on this property. But hey, I mentioned that and here came a mouse collector. And again, I don't know what they're looking for, right? And you may end up discovering that by going down these niches. You've got some rare wheat that grows on the land that you didn't realize at the beginning, and you put that out there. I'm not sure. There may be something like that that pops out.
As you mentioned, Mike, this line of thinking will help us not just with, I mean, obviously with land sales and what I'm doing here, but really for a house. You're looking for that a lot of times. What is the special thing? Or, you could niche down if a house, usually we have a very general explanation of a property, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, whatever it is. And we'll say great for entertaining. That's one of the things we'll mention, or a great backyard. But what if I niched down and I ran ads that were, do you love to entertain? And that was the headline of the property for a house. Or is the backyard your jam? Coffee in the morning in the backyard. And if that house has a highlighted area of that, then anyway, all I'm getting at is this is great to translate whether we're selling houses or land. This land
Absolutely.
presents a lot of that.
As you were going down, I was thinking like my wife loves to see hummingbirds. Okay, in our area, you can get a hummingbird in your backyard. That's gold for her. So if there was a hummingbird in the backyard, I mean, that's not something you put in the MLS. It's not a checkbox, but a
Right.
hummingbird property, boom, she'd be all over that. Something you wouldn't think of generically or normally. A pool table. I like billiards. So
Yeah.
like if there was a house with a pool table, I'd be like, whoa, I want to learn more about that, right? Because I like to play pool and somebody else will too. So
Or a
these
pool in the
little,
backyard. Yeah, that's
right. Pool table with a pool. Yeah. Uh, you're getting the idea. How can you niche down to some unique thing? And I think Angela kind of opened the door on that. You can go out into the social media space
hmm
to just do a one little piece or one little idea. You can kind of test different ideas on a pretty inexpensive budget and just do a little $5 ad, just see what happens if somebody's going to click on it and get it over to their friend. Well, how cool is that? Very cool. Good stuff.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, Angela. Just the social media, specifically Facebook and the Meta realm there.
Yeah, this was a really good call. This was a robust look at how you can market a specialized property, but then it turned into any property, really. So,
Right, right.
Sweet. All right, so we've used up most of our time, but there are a few minutes left. Is there any burning issue that anybody has that we were supposed to address, you wanted us to address, and we didn't get to yet? Okay, good, good. All right. Well, let me ask this. Any other good news that we missed that we should have been sharing? Any other good news? Angela, you had a couple closings last week, a new listing. I mean, you're rocking it. Yeah, some good news.
well, the referral that I got from the agent we talked about last week, I think, that Googled me and referred to me last night. She texted me because everything processed on that transaction, and she reached out to her person that she referred to me. And she said, she sent me a screenshot of the text back and forth. And it says, hey, so it looks like she was able to help your mom. Yay. And that was what she was saying to the son. And he said, yes, she was awesome. I'm not going to say some things, but things got a little dicey before closing. And he said, thanks to her, she helped get it finished. Thanks so much for the recommendation! Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. And so, yeah, that was a great reminder that I need to work on asking for the referrals now. And she even mentioned that she's like, hopefully he'll give you a great referral. And I believe that they will. And so it's a family. So hopefully I can get more than one person to do a referral.
So when you say referral, did you mean a review,
I mean,
testimonial?
yes, I'm sorry, not a referral,
Well, we want the referrals too.
yeah,
Yeah, let's go for the
a
review.
review. Sorry.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. And remember, when you're doing that, the highest level is video. If you can get them to say it on video, that's gold. And if not, then you just start, that's fine. You just start stepping down. Can you just get audio? And then they're talking and you have their picture or something, over the phone. If you can't get that, then you step it down. Can you get them to at least write it out? And if they write it out at that point, boy, please write it out over and say Google reviews or Zillow or somewhere where other people are going to see it. Um, yeah, that's fantastic. Angela, congratulations. Obviously, you did a great job and they're feeling really good about it. I I think you're right. You should reach out immediately and try to get that review.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Good work. All right, Tristan, any good news before we wrap up?
Yeah, real quick. I
Yes.
got a price reduction on my listing, and
Woohoo.
we have our first showing today.
Yay. Hey, look at that. Got a price reduction, got a showing. Yeah. And that's going to become, go ahead, Tristan.
Sorry, no, that was my kids talking in the background, I guess.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's going to become really critical as the market shifts and slows down. First of all, just because of seasonality here in a couple months, but also just the economy. We don't know what's going to happen. But there are a lot of indications things are slowing down. That's great, by the way. You get excited about that. This is perfect. Your competition is going to start disappearing. You're going to have an easier time at it. You're going to use all this creativity and be a true broker. Think about all the things we just talked about today and the value you're going to now bring to sellers. Your reviews are going to go through the roof. The testimonials are going to go through the roof. Blake was so creative. He came up with all these ideas. Angela got us to the end. The reviews are going to be fantastic. You're building up all this great reputation in the market. And then when the market does pick up again, your business is going to double, triple, quadruple. But I think you're going to get a bunch of market share right in the downward market just by doing these tactics. But the idea of getting that price reduction and getting more showings, Tristan, that's fantastic. Everybody, that's a reminder for everybody. Make sure you're doing a weekly review with your sellers. Do not run away from those and hide. Lean into them. Say, here's what's going on. Here's what the market is telling us. And that's a great phrase to remember. This is what the market is saying. Okay, this is not what I'm saying. This is what the market is saying. This is what the market is saying. It should be the first thing that rolls out of your mouth when you're talking to people. This is what the market is telling us. Okay, kind of personify the market. This is what the market says. All right, and now it's the heat's off of you, and we're talking about the market. The market either accepted the property or rejected the property, and we need to make an adjustment. Okay, you gotta start having those conversations to do the repositioning. Good work, good work. All right, so let's wrap up. This will wrap up production. Now let's go into our quick huddle. So our quick huddle, number one thing you did last business day to move your business forward. Number one thing you're going to do today. Who would like to start?
I'd like to start, please. But Mike, you have any good news before I go?
Oh, I'll share it in this section. Thank you for
All right,
asking.
cool. Number one thing yesterday was door knocking. I had 65 knocks, 20 something conversations. No, I think it was only 12 conversations. 12 conversations and five long-term leads and one lead looking to sell within the next year. And then number one thing today is get back out there and just prospect again.
Tristan, you're building such a great pool of people that you're making connections with. I have a feeling that you appreciate that, and I want to make sure you don't lose perspective. You are building this massive database that people are recognizing you now. Make sure that you're reaching out to them. I know you got your newsletter out last week, I think it was, your email newsletter. Make sure you create a little follow-up program for those nurtures where they're getting touched at least once a month so they keep you on top of mind. But you are building this great list of people who maybe not moving now, but may end up next week. You don't know what's going to happen. They get a job retransfer or something, right? Something changes in their world and you are now top of mind because you're staying in front of them. So their plans may change, and then also referrals. Always remember that. They may not do something, but their family member or friend may want to do something, and you are now in their world. You're sitting in front of them. Oh, this great guy came to my door and started chatting with me. He's a real go-getter. Why don't you go talk to Tristan? Right? So stay in front of those folks. Treat them, start to move them in. They're almost like a PCSOI. They're not your PCSOI, but you start treating them where you're dripping on them, kind of like a PCSOI, just at a further away and not as active as your PCSOI. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, cool. Good job. All right, who else would like to share? Oh, Tristan, today you're going to do more door knocking, yes? Okay, who's next?
I'll go ahead and go. So yesterday, I was telling Mike earlier before we started, before everybody got on, that I've been just running at full speed, and like I'm throwing things and things are like all over the place, and I'll do that later. So yesterday was okay, I could finally take a breath and like start picking things up and working on things. So this week, that's my focus. Yesterday, I touched some things that I needed to. Today, I'm going to continue. Like I told Mike, I need to ask for the reviews for my closings now that they've happened. I still have 3 listings. So I'm going to really reflect on our call today and see what I can take from what we talked about and use on my listings that we have right now. So that's today.
That's awesome, Angela. I love it. And based on your 3 listings and the ideas we talked about, and you looking for the buyer, it's the best answer is always put it in the MLS and let the system we created help you find the buyer. No doubt that's going to be the fastest and probably the highest price for your seller. But if that's not working, then 1, you go for the price readjustment, okay, because the market's talk. 2, though, you start looking for creative ways to reach out to people who may be interested in this property, right? And we had a whole session about that today. Maybe we'll spitball that one another time as well, and maybe focus in on a house instead of land, or any other type of property you guys want to talk about. So good job, Angela. Remember, I think the most important part of that was towards the end, where you're niching down into one idea, just one idea that you're doing the whole marketing piece behind. Because even though this property could be good for 28 different people, you can't put 28 different things in the ad and get their attention. It's got to go all the way down just to that one idea and try to grab that one person. That's going to be the most successful approach.
Yeah, that's huge. A huge word of advice. Thank you.
You betcha, Angela. Good luck with that today. All right, Blake.
I was just thinking I'm gonna consider what I did this morning as my yesterday work because I've already been out there doing my work. Today I went to what is called the Chattanooga 300, and what they do, there's it's a I forget, they call it a magnet school or something. It's not a magnet school, but it's a school that it serves a lot of underprivileged folks. And it's not because of its location necessarily, but the way it's made and designed. But what they do is they have an event, first day of school. They ask all the parents and business people in the community, first responders, sheriff and police department, fire department, they're all there. And they create this line where we line the sidewalks. And as the kids, it's all boys, it's all young men. Go from their assembly in the gym outside to their classes, to their classroom, which anyway, we line it, 300 people, and we applaud and, yeah, and do hey, it's going to be a good week. That's always such a great thing, and I see a lot of people there, and speak to a lot of people, and of course it is just a good thing to be a part of. So that was I'm going to count that as yesterday, and then today, the number one thing I'm going to do, I have 2 referrals. They're not new referrals. I've already had these for a little while, but it's time for me to follow up with them, and I'm going to be following up with them.
Good job, Blake. That's fantastic. Congratulations. That made me think of one other idea. We were trying to talk earlier about how do you get in front of people with means, wealthy people who could buy this land, right? Agents I've talked to in the past, one of the things they'll do is they'll make sure that they're working through the charities and other civic means, civic organizations, and that you just talked about one. And so that's another place to intermingle with these folks that may have the ability to buy this land, right? Might bring it up during your small talk or something. Hey, I just listed this great piece of land. If you know anybody who's thinking about building a family compound or doing hunting, or you send up some of the smoke signals of the ideas that we're just spitballing today. But good job. That's fantastic news. Good luck with that. All right, let's see. For myself, last couple of businesses days, whatever. I had a listing that came on the market Friday, and we did a coming soon approach on that, and over the weekend. And then we've had showings. Had 3 showings over the weekend and 1 on Monday, but it didn't result in an offer. So I've had to shift gears into traditional sell. And I've got someone who's had a nibble. They had like a 40-minute showing, so they may end up doing something. But that's there. So I'm following up with those folks. I had a listing appointment on Friday with someone else, and I thought it was going to be a come list me call. I was ready to just go list it. It turns out they're interviewing 4 people. I'm like, great, fantastic, bring it on, let's do it. And so their last interview was yesterday, so I'll be reaching back out to them today to see what happened there. And those are some of my top things that I'll be doing. And I'm also working on a new program for expireds. I'll let you guys know about that if it pans out. All right.
Sounds great. Good work, Mike. Good work, Blake. Way to go, Angela. Hope you all have a great day today.
Yeah, nice job, everybody.
All right, good job. All right, Tristan, Blake, Angela, thank you for being here today. Have a fantastic and productive rest of your day.
Bye.
See ya.
Thanks, you too. See y'all next time.